This is Showtime Sean Porter.
This is Aerosmith Jr.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse Vargas.
And you're watching True School Sports.
You're watching True School Sports.
And you're watching True School Sports.
Stay tuned.
What else we got to talk about? Come on, fire away.
All right,
you gotta be quicker.
I'm gonna fire away.
I know what the problem is. It's salt water, air in Dana, Florida.
That's what it is. It's the humidity in Dania, Florida, and that's why I'm hesitating a bit. No, I wanted to ask you about because I saw you posting quite a lot about this. I know your thoughts, but I wanted to kind of document it here. Well, what did you make of Dan Rafael and his whole situation with ESPN?
You mean the fact that I loved it?
Yeah, you were celebrating. I'm surprised you didn't post any videos of you popping champagne with your wife.
Well, put it this way to you. My wife did my chocolate covered strawberries. I'll give you that clue.
Oh man.
So, okay, I'm serious too. So, anyways, now here's what happened. It goes like this. Okay, I announced it last summer. There's multiple components here to this. Okay, that summer. Last September, I announced that he wasn't getting his contract renewed in 2020. Announced it on Facebook, told everybody in the business. Of course, Dan Rafael told them, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's been saying I don't know what I'm talking about for 20 years." Okay, but I always turn up right, and he's always wrong. So, he can say what he wants. He's not a media person like Dan Rafael is not a boxing insider. Steve Kim is a boxing insider in the media, and so is Mike Coppinger. Dan Rafael is not a boxing insider. Okay? There's a difference. The difference is Steve Kim knows the business, not only the sport, but the business, as Mike Coppinger does. That's what makes them boxing insiders. Okay, it has nothing to do with all the information they can get. They understand the business.
Yeah.
Okay, and they know the business. And Rafael does not know the business. He knows the sport. Let's not confuse issues. They're totally two different things. Okay? Now, that's why fighters have trainers, and that's why fighters are managers. The trainers are the sport. The manager is supposed to be in the business, but in the recent years, they've turned into financiers, and so they're not. But, basically, that's what it's been the tradition of in boxing. So now, I announce it. Okay. It happened on Good Friday. Okay, that he was released from his job. Okay. Now you know where I'm going with this.
I know. I have an idea. Continue.
The Pope officially, when he heard that Dan Rafael got released on Good Friday from his job, the Pope changed it to Great Friday.
He changed it to Great Friday?
He changed it to Great Friday. So, in the meantime he's telling people the coronavirus, they call him loose because of the coronavirus, they couldn't afford to pay him, Papa, okay, hold it. First of all, let's talk about this. The man got notified last September. I wrote it. Okay? Wrote it. Posted it on Facebook. Proud to say I did. 8 months. And he couldn't find a job. A week later, he appears at Boxing Scene for getting paid a little fee per article, a small stipend per article. There's no big salaries at Boxing Scene.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, he went from ESPN, one of the most powerful positions in boxing in the media, and all the media, to Boxing Scene. Now, this Boxing Scene is a company that Dan Rafael shit on. For the whole time he was at ESPN for 15 years. The whole time he shit on Boxing Scene every time he could. Okay, first of all. Second of all, Rick Reno, who was the owner of it, and now it's owned by a division of CBS Sports. Okay, now he's the editor. Okay, he shit on Rafael. Now misery loves company. Okay, now they team up. Well, it's going to be, nobody's hiring Dan Rafael. He had 8 months to find a job. His agent, Nick Kahn of CAA in LA, they had every opportunity to find this guy a job, and they couldn't find him a quality job. In boxing, that paid a big salary. Nobody needs him. He's overstayed his existence. He had 20 years in boxing, 5 at USA approximately, maybe 6, and then he had 15 years, for sure 15 years at ESPN, and it's over. Game's over. Okay, and, I have everybody says, it's terrible, he lost his job, he shouldn't be gloating over it. Listen, he's taken so many shots at me over the years. He's never been right once. I told everybody in 2014, in March of 2014, that De La Hoya and Schaefer were fighting, screaming, yelling at each other over cell phones, and they weren't getting along, and divorce was imminent. He goes and tells everybody, by the way, that's before you and I knew each other,
Yeah.
but he went and told everybody in boxing that he had talked to Richard, he had talked to Oscar, everything was wonderful. Glaser does what he talk about, he's full of shit. A friend of mine, okay, who I only met from Facebook originally, even though I do see him at the fights. So he comes out, we have lunch with him at the fights and stuff. We became friends through Facebook. He went on his chat and he asked Rafael about it. He goes, Glaser's not even in boxing. He doesn't know what he's talking about. They're getting along fine. Well, on June 4th, they announced the big breakup. Okay, so and you notice he ever apologized to me. Last year, when I told me he was out of the, I told me he was out of the job. They weren't renewing his contract. Nobody knew about everybody. He acted like everybody thought I was crazy. I had everybody else in boxing. How do you know this? I said, I know things. That's why I'm the person that I am. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm just saying that's why I get paid money to render advice and give opinions and stuff like that. By the way, this is carte blanche today for you, Brendan.
This is what?
But anyways, carte blanche, free.
Oh.
So anyways, the pro bono, as they say in the law.
I appreciate it.
So, okay, thank you. So in the meantime, what I am saying to you is that this guy's been a thorn in my side for 20 years.
It's a long time.
The game is over. Okay? I'm still in boxing full time, despite him throwing me under the bus, blocking matches, saying the fighter sucks because it was my fighter. Well, I represented the fighter anyways. I mean, every time that I got involved, I was around. This guy was been a headache. Okay, the last straw was the first time I was on Twitter 5 years ago, and then I got hacked into. But he calls me up one day with somebody else on the phone. Hey, I heard you on Twitter. He goes to me, follow me. I said, okay, you'll follow me back? Yeah. Okay, 2 days later, I follow him right away. 2 days later, call me, Dan, you didn't follow me. He goes, why would I follow you? I says, you piece of shit. And I hung up the phone on him. That was the last words between us. And that was 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago now. Okay, that was it. It's probably 6 years ago by now because it was before the deal. It's probably maybe 2013 because I know it was before the situation with Oscar and Schaefer. Now, you want to know how I knew Oscar and Schaefer were fighting?
Yeah, that'd be good to know. How did you know that?
Okay. So I get a phone call one day from this guy that now is deceased. His name is Bernie. And I knew him from this restaurant I go to right by the golf course here. And it's like the 18th hole for the golf, the 19th hole for the golfing guys. And they come over there. He likes boxing, and we're talking boxing one day. And he got my business card from me. He said, listen, I like boxing, but I don't want to buy all those pay-per-views. What's going to be good? Give me your card. I said, no problem. Give me my card. I said, I'll let you know what's good and bad. He goes, oh, good. Give him my card. Back maybe 4 months later, let's put it this way to you. I got the call in February of 2014, so it was still when golf was going on. So it was probably the summer of 2013. That it was out. Okay, so he calls me up. He goes, Rick, do you know a guy named Richard Schaefer? Of course. He runs Oscar's company. He says, well, my daughter works in a restaurant in LA, a real nice restaurant. She's a waitress. She's going to school, and she's a waitress there. I go, yeah. He goes, and her boyfriend's the bartender. I go, yeah. Make a long story short, he says he's fighting with Oscar. I says, you mean there? She says, no, over the cell phone. And he says, Richard eats at the corner of the bar. Yeah, no problem. I says, really interesting. He says, can you get your daughter on the phone? He says, sure. So he gets his daughter. He says, let me hang up and get her on the phone. I said, again, gets her on the phone. And I said to him, I said, how do you know that and she said, well, and Oscar's yelling at him too, yelling back at him. He's screaming, yelling to Richard Schaefer, and then he's yelling back. She said, well, how do you tell Oscar yelling back? She goes, well, my boyfriend's a bartender, and despite the music on, she can hear Oscar yelling back. and he keeps calling him Oscar. So I said, well, it wouldn't be Oscar De La Hoya because that's Richard Schaefer. So then he would get off the phone, and you know, like everybody talks to the bartender like they're their long lost best friend. You know how that goes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in the meantime, the bartender's listening to all these things, and they're fighting like cats and dogs. Okay, now it can't get no more real than that. Okay. Here's another story that Rafael tried to kick me under the curb under.
Okay.
Ready?
Go ahead. Fire away.
Okay. In 2018, for January of 2019, Top Rank, and then of course, who goes off press releases, this Plups, Rafael. He writes on his website, ESPN.com, that Joseph Parker's fighting Brian Jennings in January in Atlantic City. I don't know, the 18th.
I remember that.
2019. Okay. And I heard this, and I called up Brad Goodman, and I said to Brad, that's not happening. And he goes, he's fighting. Joseph Parker is going to fight Dillian White. He says, nah. He says, listen to Rafael. He knows. He says, Aram said this, Aram said that. I said, okay. Talk to you later. Nobody believed me. The next day, next afternoon, with the time difference, next afternoon over here, Eddie announces the fight. I get a call from Brad from Top Rank with everybody else listening in because it was on conference call. He told me such here, such right here. How did you know that Joseph Parker was fighting Dillian White? Now, remember, Parker's from New Zealand. He was going to England, right?
Yeah.
I said, I know the guy at a first name basis, the two guys that took him to the airport in the van. I go, what? I go, yeah. I go, what do you mean? I go, well, the one guy's a boxing friend of mine, and the other guy drives a limo. Drives a, what do they call it? Like an Escalade. I don't know what they call those over there. You know, like a Sprinter or whatever they call those things over there. I think they're called Sprinters. I think they're called Sprinters. But anyways, they drove him to the airport. And they said to me, they said, well, how did you know? I said, when the guy called, this is a good one. So when the guy was giving me this information over the phone originally, I said to him, I said, did you see him get on the airplane? He goes, Rick, I took the bags up to the counter, and I did see him check the bags in, but then I physically see me no, because it's 500 yards away. Is the 500 yards away is the on the second floor of the airport is the the gate. So no, I didn't physically see him, but I checked the bags in for him. Trust me. I said, okay, good enough. So that's what happened, and I knew. And Rafael, of course, insulting me again. He just can't help himself. Here's what the ultimate slap was for Rafael.
Okay.
Well, he got his chat room taken away when he announced that ESPN announced that the software was down. Okay, it was outdated. Now, can you imagine $150 billion mass media company that only does sports, and their lead senior boxing writer, his chat room's down because all of a sudden
The software is just outdated. Yeah.
Oh, come on, please. He insulted so many people that I know at least 75 people have inboxed me on Facebook and told me that they called ESPN and complained because he insulted them on the chat room, or they went to a fight and he was rude to them. When he tried to talk to them.
Damn.
Okay. So that's all you said. At least I know 75 personally. That doesn't mean all the other people called up. Personally know 75. They can know me from I know from Facebook.
75 is still a pretty good number. 75 is still a pretty damn good number.
Listen, it may be 78, but you get what I'm saying.
I get the gist of what you're saying. All right.
Right.
Well,
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. We're at the Navy Pal, and you're watching True School Sports.